Hello, I'm Tanner Kent, and I'm here today to share with you my life's journey of a God that never gives up on you. Even in your darkest hour, when you feel like there is no hope and you got nothing left, just remember God is not done with you. Growing up, I had an amazing dad and a mom that was my everything, and three of the best siblings a guy could ask for. We were a very tight-knit group that went to church on Sundays, vacation Bible school in the summers, and knew all about Jesus. For pretty much all of my childhood that I can remember, my mom had cancer. She was such a fighter and beat a long, hard battle with breast cancer. We thought she had finally beat it, but 6 months later, she was diagnosed with late-stage leukemia. It wasn't long after that she passed away when I was 11 years old. The day she died was like I lost a piece of me. So I turned my back on God. I hated him for taking her away. I was an angry, hateful little boy without his mama, trying to numb every bit of me and forget all memory of losing her. So began my dark path of destruction. After she died, I started hanging out with the older kids, drinking and smoking weed at 11 years old. When I was 12, I was raped by a man named Derek, and with the grace of God, I was able to forgive him after 21 years. After being raped, the next week I lost my virginity to an older woman. Then began my 2-year addiction to ecstasy and whatever else I could get my hands on. When I was 16 was the first time I tried killing myself. I took a shotgun, pulled the trigger, and the bullet misfired. There's no coincidence there. God stopped that bullet from going off, and he said, "I'm not done with you yet." But did I listen? Of course not. Didn't think twice of it. Just washed it away with more booze and drugs. I ended up getting expelled my junior year from Burnsville High School and went to Eastview, where things just escalated because kids were rich and they didn't have many rules. Ended up stealing my mom's cancer pain meds and sold them for a few months. Never went to school, and when I did, I spent most of my time in in-school suspension and on truancy. Barely graduated from there, and this is where things start to get a little fuzzy. When I was 20, I got a DWI and had to spend 60 days in jail. Longest streak of sobriety in 9 years. After I got out, this is where things get a lot of fuzzy, because I was drinking a 175 a day, but somewhere in that time frame of 23, 24, I tried hanging myself from a rafter in my uncle's garage, and the beam broke. Once again, not a coincidence. God saying, "I'm not done with you yet." Still hating the guy and running away, I find myself at my brother's drinking myself to death. Literally drank so much my organs started rejecting alcohol. I started puking up blood. It's coming out of my nose. It's everywhere. It was the worst pain I ever felt. Every single muscle in my body started to cramp. My sister and brother-in-law rushed me to the hospital, and I spent some time there and then checked myself into treatment at 26 for the first time to Teen Challenge. That lasted 21 days. I was only there to get people off my back, and it didn't last very long because they kindly kicked me out, was sober for 3 months, and then started closet drinking up at my cousin's house. Within a couple weeks of doing that, I tried killing myself by drinking a lot of alcohol and downing a bunch of pills. Managed to make a phone call to my sister, who called 911, and then I slipped off to the most peaceful, warm, quiet, very bright place. And again, God said, "I'm not done with you yet." I came to a couple days later, and the doctors were like, "I don't understand how you are alive right now." And in my head, I was like, I know one reason. Anyways, they told me the great news that I'll be on a 72-hour hold in the psych unit. From there, I went back to Teen Challenge, this time for 45 days. Then I decided to move in with my uncle and his girlfriend. About a month after living there, my uncle's girlfriend thought it was a good idea to introduce me to meth. I thought I've hit rock bottom before, but boy was I wrong. One hit of that, and I was off to the races. I was addicted to meth for 4 years in that time span, I destroyed and burned every last relationship with everyone I knew. I lied, I stole from everyone I love. I quit my job I had for 14 years and was living out of my car. The enemy had me. I was all alone in a cemetery up in Pequot Lakes. Nobody to call, nobody to stop me. I grabbed my knife and started cutting. Every time cutting deeper and deeper until the last time. The last cut, I pushed as hard as I could and I ripped it across my wrists and was like, this is it, but nothing happened. I tried again and again, but the knife stopped working. Once again, God said, I'm not done with you. I ended up calling the only person who I thought would answer, and he did. It was Marty Fox, and he tells me I need deliverance. I somehow make it down to Ryan and my sister's house and show up looking demonic. Cuts on my arms, 125 pounds, and look like I'm dying. The next day I went through deliverance for all the wrong reasons, which it worked at the start, but kept secrets during the deliverance and was still so angry at God. As usual, the enemy was waiting and came back at me 7 times stronger. Didn't quit smoking meth or drinking for 6 more months. Finally, my buddy helped me get into treatment and got sober and clean from meth. Never went back to meth, but still wasn't done drinking. Ended up moving into a sober house after getting kicked out of treatment. For some reason, I started talking to my uncle's girlfriend again, which then started going up north again, and we started drinking and ended up sleeping with my uncle's girlfriend. Things went from bad to worse so fast. Lost my job again, living out of my car, and this time no Marty to call and nobody who would answer. I grabbed a jagged knife that I knew would cut deep, and I ripped it vertically up my wrist. So deep you could see the muscle in the veins, and the blood was so dark to the point it was black. I was waiting for it to spray out, but nothing came out. In that moment, arm cut open wide, I broke down and I cried. Not because poor me or it didn't work, but because of the overwhelming love God had for me. I was tired of running, tired of being angry all the time, tired of hating everything. I said, Lord, I'm ready. I'm ready to give up the old me and walk with you. At the time, I was at my uncle's house. Cops got called, and I knew they were there for me. I answered the door, put my hands around my back, and they took me away. I ended up getting delivered a second time and did it right that time. I forgave the Lord, forgave the guy who raped me, and gave all the hatred I had for the Lord and the world away. Ended up in treatment for the last time. Got baptized a month in. I have no cravings or desire for drugs or alcohol. Full of love and gratefulness, 2 years sober and completely on fire for God. He truly left the 99 and chased after the 1. He was my light in all the darkness. He never gave up on me, even when I was giving up on myself. God loved me even though I hated him. All the glory and all the praise goes out to him and him alone. I am seated in the heavenly places with Christ Jesus, far above all power of darkness, and all things are under my feet. Ephesians 1:20-23. So while you are alive and breathing, let me remind you that God isn't done with you yet, and he's not done with me either. Thank you.